Hello everyone, my name is Renata Kaminsky and I'm an education reporter for the Journalism Lab on Higher Education here at Audia. And today we have here with us Ariel Lajara and Reni Lajara, who both serve as assistant superintendents for the Philadelphia School District. While Ariel has been working in the position since May 2020, serving 14 schools in South and Southwest Philadelphia, Reni has joined the office in fall of 2022, overseeing 17 schools, mostly in North and West Philly. With Dominican roots, what's intriguing about them is that they are actually family, more specifically cousins. So thank you both so much for being here with me today. And let's start with the first question, which is, how is it like to work together as a family? I think it should be a little difficult or not, I don't know.
I was ecstatic when I knew that I was coming back to the Philly School District to work as an assistant superintendent, specifically and more importantly because I was going to be working alongside my cousin Ariel. I know his heart, his passion for education. I know that he does everything he can for his students and his families, and especially the leadership that he works with and teachers as well. So it was exciting for me to come back and actually, work alongside him. So for me, it's an honor and a privilege.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the feeling is definitely mutual. Reni and I have been working together for the past 13 years. So in 2010, we began to work together at John B. Stetson, where Reni was the principal. And I was there as a teacher, as a dean, and also as a director of an academy. So we worked together for 4 years, and then we joined partnership again last year. And I mean, we're just excited to be assistant superintendents in a city that had raised us. We're both byproducts of the School District of Philadelphia. I matriculated from Albany High School. Reni graduated from Massachusetts High School. So we have deep roots in the city of Philadelphia. And the fact that we could do this work together just makes it more empowering, more joyful. But we know that we have challenges ahead of us to ensure that this district becomes the highest performing district in the nation. I mean, we believe in every child that we educate, and that's really what strengthens our family bond. Like, we're close personally, but professionally makes us unstoppable, and that's how we feel.
And from the beginning, what has influenced each of you to pursue a career in education? For
me, it was going through the School District of Philadelphia, starting at J. Cook Elementary School, and then going to Albany High School. And experiencing hardships, and at times also having some adults in front of us that had low expectations. At 17, I graduated from Albany and I went to college fueled with passion, fueled with enthusiasm around you can't talk about a problem if you don't become part of the solution. So I was able to go to college and get my bachelor's in elementary education and just hit the ground running, man. It's such exciting work. It's work that literally rejuvenates me on a daily. I love the work that we do. I love impacting families, students, and the leadership teams at our schools. We have amazing principals that care so much about the city of Philadelphia. So that work is extremely rewarding in a way that we can't really calculate.
So my journey was a little different. I came here to the United States when I was 7 years old as an immigrant. And, didn't know English, but similar story, went through the whole public education from second grade to high school in Philadelphia, and had few teachers that had an impact. My second grade teacher, Mrs. Willis, was one that had the biggest impact in my educational life, and I took that with me throughout the entire educational system. But, leaving MassBom, I was telling my sons this, my kids this the other day, that my report card was all D's when I graduated high school. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, because what I wanted to do, coming from the Dominican Republic, was I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, right? That was my dream. But at the end of at the beginning of my senior year baseball season, I was hit by a car, had to get surgery on my leg, and all my scholarships and everything that I had planned to go to college went away. So I thought my life was over. But then went to Community College of Philadelphia, continued to play baseball. Thankfully, I was, able to walk and do those activities again, and ended up going to Gwynedd Mercy University to play baseball. That helped me out a lot. Got my degree in education, but I always knew that I wanted to come back to Philadelphia, just because of the experiences that I had. if I could just be that one person, that one teacher that really helped as many children as I could from the city of Philadelphia to prosper and just to be a productive citizen in life, I knew that that was my goal and my mission. I saw too many of my friends die from gun violence. My best friend was killed right in front of me when I was 18 years old. And you know, I live with that every day. And as we see the gun violence going on in the city now, it's something that is personal to me because I lived it. So I know what our young people go through on a daily basis just to get to school. So, you know, graduating from Gwinnett Mercy was really impactful. I started teaching at Julio de Burgos Elementary. And from there, the rest is history. I was pushed to be an administrator because they needed more Latino administrators like us. And then I, in turn, pushed Ariel to be an administrator as well because we just need more of us. I saw his passion and the love he had of 4 children, just like me. So I knew that he would be successful, and he will continue to be successful because of his passion. So to me, again, this work is just personal, and I wanted to be an educator because I wanted to impact the lives of the young people that live in Philadelphia and grew up the same way that we did.
And let me ask you a little bit about how was, when you first got here, how was the transition? Because being bilingual and having to learn a new language, it's like an extra challenge. And I think like you stuck with it throughout like your whole, not just like education career, but like throughout your whole life. So how has it been for you? What were some of like the major challenges?
Well, to be frank, the major challenges was coming here as a Dominican family, right? And being one of the only Dominican families in Philadelphia at the time, because we came in 1984. The majority of the neighbors were Puerto Rican or black, some white, but the white flag that was starting to go to North Philly, to Northeast Philadelphia at the time. But it was very challenging for my family. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. And we were just like any normal immigrant family. We were poor, and we were an easy target, to pick on my brothers, myself, and especially not knowing the language. So it was very, very challenging. For me, it wasn't as hard to learn English as my brothers because they were older. They had more challenges than I did because I was only in 2nd grade. So as I told you before, my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Willis, she was so welcoming. Her classroom was so inviting. And she was really thoughtful and really took time to teach me English. And I learned English pretty much, like how to defend myself in English, within about a month of being here. So in terms of the language, it wasn't that much of a challenge for me to learn it, but the environment and the transition, as you asked, was a challenge for me and my family.
And how does your family, what do they say about like the fact that you guys work together when you first like told them, oh, we're gonna be partnering? How is it? How do they feel about it?
I mean, our families are ecstatic, to say the least. My mother, Rennie's mother, Rennie and I are related through our dads. Our fathers, rest in peace, were siblings. Same mom, same dad. Both immigrated to this country around in their 30s, age 30s. They both unfortunately passed away, but they were just so close. Rennie's father was slightly older than my father, the same way Rennie and I. Rennie's slightly older than me, myself, but we just would love for both our dads to see this today. That would be our dream come true. To the fact that when my father passed away, Rennie's dad passed away first. And my dad, he told me to make sure that I bury him right next to his brother. So when we go visit them at their graves, they're very close to each other. But our family is just super proud of us. We take what we do. We're extremely grateful about the opportunities that are bestowed to us. But more importantly, they're just excited to see 2 Latinx males giving back to their community. Trying to support and grow a city that at times needs help. And we just, they meet with us. They love that we work together. I love working with Rennie. Rennie loves working with me. It just strengthens our bond. And it really, in all actuality, strengthens our family because we've become the beacon of education. And through our partnership, we have been able to empower many other Lajaras to come to the school district of Philadelphia. My sister's here, our cousins are here, and a lot more people that want to, join us in this battle of educating Philadelphia. So I think what's most impactful for ourselves and our family is the representation. Representation matters, and to see two Latino males as assistant superintendents in the city of Philadelphia brings light, love, and hope for a lot of people, and I think that's what our family enjoys the most.
I can't top that. He has it. Our family's really close. We have a lot of family members, a lot. We have a family reunion every year, and we all come together at least once a year. But it's a very close-knit family. There's nothing that we wouldn't do for each other. And I don't know how Ariel could even talk about our dads, because I can't. It's tough for me because, as Ariel mentioned, they were really proud men. At times you wouldn't know that because they were, they looked tough on the outside, but they were really soft on the inside. But they would really be proud of us, very, very proud. And every day I wake up and just to get that one day for them to see us as, as assistant superintendents and leading the education work in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. And do you bring work discussions to family dinners or no?
Here and there. Rennie has a very big personality, and I do as well. So we get together and we talk about all sorts of stuff. I go to his house often. We watch a lot of baseball. We watch a lot of sports. Rennie is extremely passionate about the Philadelphia sports teams. He took me to my first Eagles game, to my first Phillies game. And we just bond over that. Sometimes overly passionate. Rennie can get out of control when it comes to it. And unfortunately, I didn't inherit that gene as well. So we talk a lot about sports. We talk a lot about our family and how to pay a lot of things forward. We're extremely grateful. We both enjoy to do public service work. But do we talk about work sometimes? Absolutely.
No, absolutely. Because a lot of times there's people that don't understand our work, right? Yeah. So both being assistant superintendents, it's good to have somebody to bounce off. Yeah. Not anything bad, but just ideas like hey, and Ariel is a top tier in terms of supporting his schools and instructionally, with climate, with all of those things. And me being new in the role, I lean a lot to him. For his ideas and, his system, structure, strategies. I aspire, to be like him one day as an assistant superintendent and in this role, because it's new to me. I know that if I'm half as successful as he is right now, Philadelphia will be in a good place.
Thank you. Iron definitely sharpens iron, because I used to look at Rennie the same way when I was a first-year teacher and Rennie was a principal. And I aspired to be as successful as he was as principal. And, both our careers just took off. And it's a testament to our passion. It's a testament to our dedication to the field. Most importantly, it's a testament to the dedication we had to the city of Philadelphia. We love this city. We truly enjoy the work. And iron sharpens iron is the best way to put it. If I have something that's really working, I want to tell him, I want to tell others, and vice versa. Because at the end of the day, is our students, our communities that are going to benefit. And we enjoy to see that manifest and come to life.
And I see that you guys push each other a lot. So let me ask you a little bit about, because I think no one wants to know the good parts. What are some of the negative parts of working with your family? Because sometimes it can be challenging,
So I can tell you that we worked together 4 years at Stetson. And I started reaching my potential, maximizing my potential, and realizing that I had more potential. And at that time, with Rennie being the principal of the school, and I was working at the school, I think that the biggest challenge that ever came is for me, and I remember this like yesterday, it was March 2014, exactly 9 years ago. And I went to Rennie's office and I told him, I said, I can't grow anymore under you. Unfortunately, having the same last name, it's going to limit my potential. One of the hardest decisions I ever made was leaving the school where we worked at together, because we enjoyed that. But I knew that I wanted to achieve more, and I wanted to do more. And because of us being related, it could be difficult to grow in a system where someone might look at that as nepotism. So because of that, we had to part ways in 2014. And then I went and kind of, became a dean of students, assistant principal at Luis Muñoz Marin Elementary School, where it's a K-8 bilingual school, which I just enjoyed so much doing the work there. But through the grace of the universe, we came back together just last year. So everything happens for a reason, but I think that was the biggest challenge of us working together, was having that very difficult conversation and saying that I have to go.
And I think that, that too, a lot of times people like to, put you in a vacuum, right? And, thankfully, this is a good article putting us in the good light, but, something bad happens, they might lump us both, they're Lajaras, right? But, Ariel and I know how to manage that. People mix us up all the time. I get his emails, he gets my emails.
He forwarded me an email today.
It just happened today. But we know how to back each other up, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about kids, right? And we'll both say the same thing always. It can, people will have their judgments about us, and people always do that. But what they can't say about us is that we're not about kids, because that's our only reason. And not that adults don't matter to us, but the kids matter to us the most. That's the most inspiring thing for us, is making sure that kids in Philadelphia get the best education possible.
Absolutely.
And so you guys have the same position, but could you go over about how your daily routines are? What you guys do? Because I'm pretty sure you do the same things some days, but not necessarily. So how is it what a day with the Lajaras look like?
Yeah. So for me, I enjoy, Philadelphia is a city of communities. With Rennie having the majority of his schools in North Philadelphia and some in West, and for me, the majority of my schools in South Philadelphia and Southwest, every school you go to is going to have different challenges. Every school you go to is going to have different needs, different population of students. So the exciting work about it is that you could go from one school to the next and still be doing meaningful work, but it can look and sound totally different. In a week in my world, instructional rounds, we go to schools, we have principals that have similar focuses. We group them up, we go to schools, we do instructional rounds, we observe classrooms to see what level of education students are receiving, and with the lens of how do we support, how do we grow, how do we build capacity from principal on down, teacher on down, and specifically, how does that capacity build and lead to student outcomes? After that, we have meetings. I have coaching meetings where I'm coaching individual principals to ensure that we're maximizing their potential, to ensure that we are meeting the needs of diverse learners at our schools and things of that nature. We definitely have a plethora of meetings. We need to stay up to date, not only with educational policy and educational bylaws, but also what's happening in our city. And we need to be updated at all times, because even if it happened in one side of Philadelphia, it can impact others. So we're definitely in meetings, staying abreast. We also have meetings amongst assistant superintendents where we calibrate, and we want to ensure that we're communicating, we're sharing best practices, best strategies, and things of that nature. And also there's a lot of community work. At times I'm meeting with the friends and family group of a school. I'm meeting with parents and things of that nature. But what brings me the most joy is being in the classroom, observing classrooms, having conversations with students, doing some level of small group work with students while we're in there. It's when you put in this much work, it's not about seeing the fruits of your labors. It's about seeing the joy in classrooms, seeing students being happy and excited about receiving a high quality education, watching teachers meet the needs of diverse learners, ensuring that everything that we're doing is through an equity lens, that's super important in a day-to-day, week-to-week process for myself. And I'm pretty sure Rennie's week looks similar, but like I said, we have different challenges and different needs, and he can definitely speak on that.
Yeah, so my days are pretty similar. What I enjoy the most is definitely being around children, being around students. But I also, one of the things that I love the most is being able to support the principals when they need me most, right? I feel like like one of those movie cast guys that you call to fix something, a fixer, like, hey, I have a problem with this. Who do I go to? I said, don't worry about it. I'll call you right back. And then, calling somebody at the district, at central office who would handle that and said, hey, this person needs this support. Can you help them out? Yeah, I got you, no problem. And then the problem being fixed, and then the principals being able to go with their, with their day, with their problem solved, and their school being supported. Mm-hmm. I like to, and Ariel is the same way, we like to be visible. We like our principals to see us, our school communities to see us. So definitely, and unfortunately, when incidents happen, I always try to make myself available, if not at that same moment, at least the following day, to make sure that the school is safe, that they feel the support, that I want to be there for them and make sure that everything is taken care of. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, our city is facing a lot of gun violence, a lot of incidents with gun violence, mm-hmm. And that's something that we know can impact any of us in any given day. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that we're there to support our principals when those things happen. And then, besides that, having the meetings with central office, meetings with our principals, with any partnerships that we want to link up with our principals to support our schools, mm-hmm. Is something that we do on a daily basis as well.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, the Philadelphia School District has been facing some challenges, but I wanted to ask you, so Rainey, you work mostly in North and West Philly, and then Ariel, you work mostly in South. So what would you say are some of the biggest differences between the areas?
So I had the pleasure of working in North Philly, Philadelphia, prior to Rainey coming on board. And what I would say is that the needs are different depending on what part of the city is being gentrified. So Rennie is in North Philadelphia, but he also has a couple schools that are in fully gentrified areas. So the challenges are going to differ. Some have more parental involvement, some have less parental involvement. Some areas, unfortunately, do suffer from more gun violence and more crime. But needs, I think the needs that we really hyper-focus on is the educational levels that our students might have in different geographical areas of the city of Philadelphia. And then how do we create curriculum plans, not only to cater to Tier 1 instruction, which is research-based, what we need to do, but also some students need interventions, some students need remediation. All students need our teachers to accelerate learning, to ensure that if you are a grade level or two behind, how are we catching you up and things of that nature. So centrally, our job as instructional leaders, as system leaders, as assistant superintendents, is how do we get into the root causes of what's causing our students not to be able to grasp the knowledge that we're looking for, and then how do we create these teaching environments, learning environments, where they're equitable learning environments. No matter what level you're on, you will receive a high quality education. That is a very difficult task. Our district does K to 3, 30 to 1, and 4 to 12, 33 to 1 around there. So at times you can have a lot of students in a classroom and you'll have one teacher. So how do we get the biggest bang for our buck? We sit in a lot of professional learning communities, and that's where we really come in and we do the work around how do we educate children to the best of our ability? How do we build teacher capacity? How many aha moments can we have in there? How do we share best practices? Like, that is the root of the work. Unfortunately, there are times that challenges arise and it moves you away from the work. But like Rennie said, one of our biggest tasks is we have to remove barriers for leaders. The research says that the teacher is the most important stakeholder in the education of children. And then after that comes the principal. So it's our job to ensure that if principals and teachers are met with barriers, what are we doing to ensure that we remove those barriers so they can get right back to the task at hand, which is providing our students with a high quality education.
And I think just to add to the challenges, definitely, the teacher shortage, people leaving the profession, especially after the pandemic. recuperating after the pandemic and bringing education towards normalcy again. But the school district does a great job of highlighting the positives of the school district. We're always out there in different hiring fairs to make sure that we continue to bring high quality teachers into our school system. It's a challenge that it's nationwide. We're not the sole district that's dealing with those issues, but I think we do a great job of marketing ourselves and really going out there and trying to find the teachers with the highest quality.
And you guys come from a Latinx background, so you understand how important family is. What would you say is the role that family and communities play, in each area of the city, in schools meetings? How would you describe the importance of really engaging the community in what you guys do?
I think it's the most important role as a school community. And as a school leader is to involve your school community and your parents as much as possible, because they are who we serve, right? We're all servant leaders, and we're here to serve the community and serve our children. So I think that one of the things that we work with our principals the most is to make sure that they engage their families in the community as much as possible with means of communication, with activities at the school. I'm going to a town hall meeting today. With town halls and keep them as informed as possible, but also making them part of the community where they don't feel threatened, right? Because I know that a lot of the challenges that parents have with schools is that they feel like the school's not theirs, right? And all their job is to just send their kids to school and then pick them up from school. But a lot of parents don't see themselves as part of the school community. And that's what I think our biggest work is making sure that our parents are our partners, right? And we can't do this work without them. And it doesn't matter if you're a single parent or a two-parent family. You're a part of our community. If you're a grandmother, a foster parent, whoever you are part of our community, and it should be no less than that. That's why one of our biggest things is customer service and making sure that our schools are welcoming to our parents and our community so that they feel part of our school community.
Absolutely. And like I said, Philadelphia is a city of community. So I think one thing that Rennie and I might take for granted is that we are bilingual, that we do come from immigrant families, and that allows you to connect with a different population of people. It doesn't matter where you come from. So I'm in South Philadelphia. I have a high population of South Americans and Asians in a lot of our schools, and then some Caribbean, Hispanics, Africans. There's a lot of different languages spoken in Network 10. At one school, I have two schools with the highest ELL population, English learners population in the city. Francis Scott Key is number one. They both have 50% or higher of the entire school is L. It's English language learners. So understanding the cultural values and the cultural aspects of different communities at your school is paramount, because different cultural values will allow you to interpret a message totally different. And it's how do we interpret our messages, like I said before, through an equity lens where no matter who hears it, whether it's translated in their language or we have a language line to communicate it, how do we ensure that we're messaging our stakeholders, all our families, in a way where it's inviting? We want to invite you to our schools. We want to invite you into our community. We want to ensure that everybody feels, every stakeholder that is connected to that child feels welcome in a way where we become partners in that child's education. The saying always states, it takes a village to raise a child. The most difficult thing is to bring that to life. How do we manifest that? And our school district has very essential practices and strategies to allow leaders to communicate the mission and vision of the school. And then how do we bring them together? We have BCAs, which are bilingual counseling assistants, and they really support with all the different languages that you might have at school. We have a school in Philadelphia that speaks over 30 languages, over 40 languages. Our BCAs are essential to our work because Rennie and I are grateful to be bilingual and speak very efficient and fluent Spanish and English, but there's so many other languages and cultural aspects into the city of Philadelphia. So the partnerships that we have through our district and outside organizations really support with bringing everybody together and having this family atmosphere that we want to continue to create, manifest, cultivate, and sustain.
And you mentioned a little bit about the cultural aspect. Let me ask you if, have you ever been at a school, at an event that you met with a family or with some children and they were proud that you guys were also from Latin America?
Man,
all the time. All the time.
Listen, when I go to the schools, like I said, I have a high South American population, so I walk into classrooms to do observations, and the students might be struggling, y yo comienzo a hablarle en español, and they go. They literally are alarmed, especially now, specifically in the past 2 years with the mask policy that we've had. They're like, how does he speak Spanish? How can he communicate with me? So it's like, that brings me a lot of joy because there's an immediate connection with a human being. And even if they speak another language, the fact that we both are bilingual immediately introduces a level of relationship that is not fabricated. It's very organic, and it allows us to have those therapeutic relationships with students where they feel that they could come to us.
It goes the same way with the families as well. When we're in the schoolyard or for dismissal or welcoming families in, and especially when you see a family struggling to speak English, and then when they hear you speak Spanish, and say, hey, ¿lo puedo ayudar con algo? You see their whole demeanor just, they can breathe and exhale like, oh, I have somebody that can help me. And then they, tell you what the issue is, if any challenges that they're having, and you ensure them. And we're fortunate enough to be able to do that. Yeah. Especially in the Spanish language. We should learn more languages so we're more versatile. But it's even just we're grateful to be able to do that. Especially I work in the Kensington area. Where the opioid crisis is an issue. That's another challenge for many of my schools. And when parents see you, especially for dismissal, and you're able to have a conversation with them, and I'm always personal, like, hey, how's it going? Any, do you have any complaints? Not necessarily about the school, but just about the community. What's going on in the community that I can take back, to the school district to make sure that your voices are heard. So when you talk about representation, especially when you have the conversations and say, no, I grew up in North Philly, I grew up on Hancock and Dolphin. My mom still lives there. She still lives in North Philadelphia. I went to Hunter Elementary as a kid, and that's one of the schools that I support. So when I go into the schools and I tell the kids, I say, hey, guess what? I have a secret. They're like, what? I said, I used to be a student here. What? And I said, now I'm an assistant superintendent. Yeah. Right? And I'm Latino and speak 2 languages. And they're like, what? And I said, and you can do that too. Right, so that's what representation means, is being able to show our young people that they can also do it too, that no matter where you come from, your environments, what you've been through, what kind of family you have, what kind of challenges you have, you can also make it.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that makes it so powerful for us is I grew up in a household with my mother, which to this day doesn't speak English, and Rennie did as well. So the challenges and struggles that we had going to school for back to school night, for report card conferences, I've been translating for my mom my entire life, and Rennie has also.
Doctor's appointments.
Everything. I mean, listen, you're a translator at 3.
Right.
The moment you can speak English, you're your parents' translator. So I understand the burden and the anxiety of my mom having to navigate a world where her language is not primary. So to be able to remove that anxiety, that barrier for parents, for community members, for students, I mean, it just brings us a world of compassion and a lot of joy to be able to do that work.
So, Rainy, you mentioned bringing some of the challenges back to the Philadelphia School District, like discussions with all the others, all the other important people. So how does this usually go? Because of course, as I said, you guys come from a Latino background. So we probably have like a different perspective on what the families, the communities, the children are facing. So how is it for you to bring this to the table and discuss it with all the other important people who make the decisions?
Yeah, so it's there's a protocol for that. Usually, sometimes I'll hear from the parents themselves, but the protocol is, the principals have parent meetings. Those concerns or challenges are brought up to the principal. principal brings them to me, and then either an assistant superintendent meeting, or I can go directly to the office of student safety or the office of school safety and say, hey, we need, there's a crossing guard that's missing in this street. When parents are walking, there are people with the opioid crisis that are laying down on the floor and doing drugs in front of kids. How can we work with the school district and the city to make sure that we try to clear that out so our students don't see that? That's some of the things that I've had to work with so far this year. We're fortunate enough, and the district has partnered with the city, and we have an opioid task force that all we do is bring up ideas and suggestions and solutions on how to support our schools that are in that that opioid corridor.
Yeah, and I think the best way to fully signify what we do is, and what we aspire to be is a essential liaison between the school district of Philadelphia and the schools that we serve. We're that direct channel, that two-way communication between our central office and the schools. So yeah, there's protocols for that, but I must say that there's an extremely supportive environment when it comes to immediately addressing the needs of our schools. And like I said, at times, that's our role. It's like, how many barriers can we remove in a very short amount of time so we can get back to the task at hand?
And what are some of your priorities for the next academic year?
Definitely student achievement, student outcomes. Our new superintendent, Dr. Wallington, wants Philadelphia to be the fastest improving urban school district in the nation. So our priorities is making sure that our schools have the resources, the training, and the personnel to be able to do that. So we work, like I mentioned earlier, we work hard with our principals to hire the best teachers that they can, provide them with the professional development and the trainings that they need, but then also the resources and materials that they need as well to make sure that they're successful.
Yeah, and immediately after that is for us to go and observe and evaluate and collaborate with teachers and with principals about, now that we have this curriculum, these are the frameworks that we have in place. Our overarching goal is to allow students to productively struggle so they can become critical thinkers. Those transferable skills that they learn in the classroom, no matter what subject matter it is, we want that to transfer not only to other subject matters, but we want that to transfer into the community to ensure that our curriculum is providing our students with opportunities to become global citizens, productive citizens of whatever cities and communities they are going to belong to at a later date. So one thing is ensuring that all that's happening at the top, but then it's for us to really provide the support needed and the adequate training and the collaboration where we're one supporting the masses. We're one school district supporting our students. And that central focus is something that our new superintendent is big on, and we're super excited to do that work come next year in all subject matters in math, ELA, science, social studies, and everything else. So I'm actually very excited for next year. I feel like we've done some really good work this year, and we've gotten the ball rolling, and then next year the opportunities are endless to reach our goals.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's impossible not to talk about gun violence, especially with what happened this week in Tennessee. So what are your personal thoughts on this issue, and especially in Philadelphia, where we've seen a lot of gun problems happening everywhere in the city? So what are your personal thoughts on this subject, and how do you feel we can create better and safer schools for kids?
One thing that always gets me, and again, I grew up in a challenging environment as a kid. But one thing that I know is that before a person becomes violent, or before they become a shooter, let's say, shooting somebody or getting into violence, they were a student once, right? And then I think that it's our job as educators to get them before they become violent, and really dig deep to find out what it is that each child needs, right? Because a lot of times we say we're going to serve all children, and we say the word all as a blanket statement and very vague. But if you say each child, that means you're being intimate to that one child, that one person that really needs the support. It's challenging sometimes because you don't have the amount of personnel that you would need in a school to do that. It's challenging for the district because we have so many schools, but I do know that the district is working very hard and diligently to make our schools safer. They're looking at different strategies, different systems, different protocols to make sure that when students are inside our building, they're safe. When they're outside of the building in the community, that's tougher. That's a city challenge that we have to collaborate as educators and as city elected officials and community members to see how we can impact the broader community and get our Philadelphians to stop the gun violence, which is a nationwide challenge. It's not just Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. It's a nationwide challenge. So I know that it's something that as a nation we're looking at to how we can help our students and our community stop the gun violence. I know mental health issues, is definitely something that's major. So how do we enhance that to make sure that our students are supported?
Yeah, and like Randy said, it starts at a very young age, and it's how do we create these welcoming, equitable environments where students can show up representing who they are. They don't have to hide who they are. How do we provide the services for mental health, for behavioral health, to ensure that we're meeting the students where they're at? Before a student gets to school, we have no idea what challenges they have to overcome, what siblings they had to take to school, how many buses they needed to take to school. It's a challenge getting to school. Once we get to school, we have to ensure that we have the right atmosphere to welcome our students and love up on them in a very professional and educational manner. We start all our days with community meetings. And in these community meetings, we do a lot of social and emotional learning. We talk about current events. We discuss how to interact in different scenarios, what behavior etiquettes, things of that nature. Like that work is just as important as the educational work that we have to do. Because from there, that's where really you grow up to be somebody. And if those certain pieces are missing in your upbringing, then it can become very challenging in the city of Philadelphia. Rennie and I have faced a lot of challenges prior to getting to where we're at, that we have a very compassionate and mindset around how that can get the best of you. So to address what's happening now, we had to start right away to creating a plan to cater to the city of Philadelphia, but also creating a plan to ensure that these young people that we're educating now can go down the right path. We're two prime examples of having one or two transformational educators in the classroom can change the entire trajectory of your life. My wrestling coach, Rodney Weifels, saved my life many a times. And we need more transformational people, but we also need transformational systems. How do we empower our entire district to meet students in a way where they feel welcome, they feel at home? We're doing a really good job of collecting that data now through student well-being surveys, where our students get to tell us exactly how they feel in many different aspects of the school. We're moving away from just tests about their educational level. We want to understand their social and emotional levels as well. And as we do that, we begin to create an atmosphere where we're educating the whole child, mentally, physically, and socially.
And so our time here is coming to an end, but I have one final question for you, which would be, what was the most memorable moment that you guys experienced working together?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I would say for me was when I was a principal at Stetson Middle School, we would take our 8th grade students on an 8th grade trip. And it's not a normal trip. We would take them to Puerto Rico for a week. And we would fundraise for the students. And then we would have teachers go as chaperones, and I as a principal would go. And one year Ariel was able to be a chaperone and come with us on the trip. And just being there and experiencing Puerto Rico, we would go on excursions with the students, and just being there with him, being able to share that moment with our 8th grade students. It was the last time they would be at Stetson, and it was one final trip with them and go on different excursions, on different dinners, different activities. that to me was a memorable moment to have him on that trip with me.
Yeah, that was a great time, and I did go twice, so thank you for taking me. But for me was started as Rain being my principal when I was a teacher, moved up to dean, moved up to director. But in 2016, two people that I looked up to and admired, which is my cousin Rennie and Dr. Evelyn Nunez. When I started as a teacher, she was my superintendent, the chief academic officer at a school district, and Rennie was my principal. But in 2016, all three of us were principals at the same time. And that's not something that I verbally communicated, but inside it just brought me a lot of joy to see people that I looked up to in this field, and we were colleagues for the first time, and we're colleagues now. So to me, internally, emotionally, that was by far, that was a moment where I felt like I arrived, and that imposter syndrome didn't need to exist anymore. So too many good times, but for me, that was probably the most memorable.
And another final question. So are you planning to bring other Lajaras to the school district?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
We already have two in the pipeline. Yep. My sister's a counselor in the school district of Philadelphia and just applied to be assistant principal. And our cousin is also matriculating through different district positions. So yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. And then from Lajaras, as many more people that we can. Rennie has the privilege of being the president of PASA. Rennie can probably talk a little bit about that, and that's a pipeline that we're creating to really support the Latinx community and how to navigate this educational field.
Yes, I'm the president of the Pennsylvania Association of Hispanic School Administrators, PASA, and our mission is to strengthen bilingual education and to advocate for bilingualism. It's not just privy to Latino educators. We welcome all, but our mission is to help create a teacher pipeline, a Latinx teacher pipeline to become administrators, vice principal, principal, assistant superintendents, superintendents in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia school district. So we take a lot of pride in that work. Ariel is a member. Dr. Nunez is the vice president. So we take a lot of pride in that. We have a pulse on the Latino education pipeline. So I'm very, very proud to be part of that group as well, that organization.
Well, I hope you guys continue to bring more Latinos to the school district. And I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much for being here with me this afternoon. And I hope you guys come back.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.